Number 9, to provide a daytime resource center for homeless individuals and that council allocate up to $100,000 per year toward a daytime drop-in resource center in the 2018 budget cycle and proceed with determining potential locations for the resource center.
What I really like about this is the allocation of $100,000 per year in this budget cycle as opposed to the next budget cycle towards a drop-in, because that will really spur on the process for getting one in place. I'm hoping the sooner the better.
Councillor Fuller mentioned the funding towards the daytime drop-in resource center. I think that's going to be the next really important step in our strategy. So I look forward to more about that, hopefully in the near future.
That's good to see that we can move when challenged, and certainly we have been challenged in the way that we have responded or not responded.
More affordable and supportive housing. You know, the wait list to get into places like Wesley Street, Uplands Drive, etc., Boundary Crescent across the city, it's just, they're pages long, right? They're years long wait. When I call BC Housing for clients to try and get them into housing, there's no timeline. I'm like, is it going to be 4 years? They say, we can't actually tell you how long it's going to be because it's longer than that. So for people who need housing immediately,
in the wake of a homeless crisis that is growing at a rapidly increasing rate here in Nanaimo, and with nobody at City Hall offering any real solution on how to immediately address this growing crisis, the City Social Planner, John Horn, will request tonight that City Council instruct Nanaimo Mayor Bill McKay to write to MLA and declared mayoral candidate Leonard Krog and request financial support from the provincial government so that the city can build a daytime drop-in center for the homeless that they committed to back in March. On March 19th, Council committed $100,000 in seed money to Mr. Horn's department to open up the drop-in center, which Mr. Horn has decided to name the Landing Pad. Council stated back in March that they were committing this money in direct response to the growing homeless crisis in Nanaimo, and at the time was pitched by Mr. Horn to both Nanaimo Council as well as homeless advocates in the community that the drop-in center would be set up by summer in anticipation of the increased number of homeless expected in the city. Mr. Horn now says, after consulting with a daytime drop-in center in Victoria, the city will require at least $650,000 per year to operate the facility where homeless people do not have to wander the streets during the day when other services like the 710 Club or the Salvation Army are not available to them. Mr. Horn also stated in his staff report that even if the province commits to funding the over $500,000 a year project, it will take further time to further negotiate with BC Housing, Island Health, the BC Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction, the BC Ministry of Mental Health and Addictions, among other groups, which would prolong the process, meaning there is tons more red tape to come if the province commits to this project, which some call a pie in the sky that was set up to fail to begin with. According to the letter that has been drafted by city staff for Mayor McKay to send to Mr. Krog after council gives him their permission later this evening, the Landing Pad will feature a shower program, wound treatment and foot care for drug addicts who have scabs from their drug abuse, counseling and advocacy support, individual wellness planning, housing placement programs even though there is a 4-year wait list, pre-employment skills training, support to apply for welfare, a clothing and laundry program, as well as a meal program. In the letter, Mayor McKay will be instructed by Council to request from Mr. Krog that, in addition to the above, there will be capital improvement costs, maintenance and repair costs, materials and supplies, leasehold payments, and other operating expenditures. While we are still in search of a location, we estimate that the annual cost of the landing pad will be approximately $650,000. As mentioned, our council has committed $100,000 towards the costs. We are seeking the support of the provincial government towards covering the balance of this amount. Of the $650,000 per year budget for the Homeless Drop-In Center, $400,000 per year is earmarked for the hiring of 3 outreach support workers and 1 maintenance personnel. It's good to see some job creation come out of this proposed site while the homeless crisis continues to get worse in Nanaimo by the week.